that they're very hyperactive. And when I mean hyperactive, it's like running from one end to the room to the other end of the room.
For no particular reason lah.
For no particular reason. Whilst
I see. So the autism
runs strong in my family.
Yeah. So it's really have a link lah, like a
there is a lot of research going on. They do say that there's something in the genetics, but there's nothing conclusive to say. So there's a lot of research still ongoing. They do think that there's some sort of gene that's mutated, but they can't pinpoint exactly which one. So causes of autism is still relatively unknown.
I see. When you mentioned you're the vice president for Smarter kan? Who's the president?
So the president currently is Pangeran Zamri bin Pangeran Haji Bujang. He has been with the center and the organization for close to 6-7 years now. He also has a son with autism. His anak's name is Azam. He's a businessman, and when he was elected, it was due to that. When my father passed away, he was the vice president.
I see.
So it was a direct election for him to continue on my father's work. But I collaborate with him heavily because as a CEO and the vice president, there are two parts of the organization. There's the societal and then there's the center parts. So the center meaning is where the children come in, day out, where we provide programs for them. So in those programs, it's helping them be able to manage and cope with their autism so that they can be fully integrated into society.
I see.
So for example, the children under 12, a lot of them get rejected from entering schools because schools, they cannot cope with the autism that the child has. They're either hyperactive, very disruptive in classes, or they are unable to focus during lessons. So what we do is we provide them with ways that they can be able to focus, how they can sit down, hold a pencil even, and understand what school is about. Things soft skills that they won't be taught in mainstream schools.
Oh, I see. I mean, how do you define a person yang ada autism in regards macam in their understanding, in their behavior?
All right, so there's a lot of signs and symptoms for autism, and classical signs of autism are typically if you go on Google, Dr. Google will say that it's a will say that it's a neurodevelopmental disorder that affects a child's way of understanding, feeling, and it's mostly affecting the social skills.
Okay.
So that's why some kids aren't able to understand what a wave is or hello, hi, they can't respond back. And that's why some kids who are very if you look at them, they say macam ada autism, macam nada autism. You don't really believe them that they have autism. May seem off rude. It's because they don't actually understand what the social skills are in a conversation or macam mana menghormati orang tua-tuanya. So it varies what the signs and symptoms are. But the typical classical ones is that they're very hyperactive. And when I mean hyperactive, it's like running from one end to the room to the other end of the room.
For no particular reason lah.
For no particular reason, while screaming sometimes. So, just like that, or bouncing off the walls literally, or sometimes they have no no eye contact, so they could be talking to you basically could be talking to them, but they're just like looking around, not looking at you, looking at everything else. They don't have any attention span, and majority of the time people say that they're nonverbal, so they don't speak. So my brother is nonverbal, but he can communicate with me. He can communicate with my family because in Smarter we provide them ways with how to communicate.
So what are the ways? Is it sign language ka ataupun through texting or something like that?
Well, we develop our own program. So that's what's unique about Smarter. A lot of people say what's so unique about us is that our program, it's taking the best programs around the world internationally and making it for Brunei Darussalam. So what's so different? A lot of people are like, why is it different? What makes it different? A lot of international programs don't have MIB. Melayu Islam Beraja.
Memang, I think Brunei is the only one that has MIB.
Exactly, right? So a lot of the programs focus only on the parent or even just the mother in these programs, focusing on mother and child, not thinking about siblings or father or anyone else in this family, in the child's life, and not thinking about the family. In Brunei, in one household, how many generations can you hold?
That depends. I think Brunei is like really family oriented kan. I think for me, my grandmother, then my mom, then me. So about
3 generations.
My niece is 4.
So 4 generations.
4 generations.
And that's a typical household in Brunei. Kalau even if you have your own house, nanti your parents come over, you go to your parents a lot and everything like that. And we do rely on our parents to help menjagakan anak kami kan. So that's what makes it different. Because if you do a program to the child, but not include every stakeholder around the child, it will clash, collide. Karangnya, my father used to say, the grandparents are pagwambela cucunya.
Oh, ngam. Very true.
They can get away with anything.
For some reason, my nieces macam selalunya, okay tu nya, macam dinner break.
Tapi when we were growing up, so it's,
kami kena marahan.
Yeah, exactly. So my dad being, ia pun sendiri sudah grandfather at that time, I don't want karangnya grandparents are going to argue with the parents and say, no, let him jump off the wall or whatever. Macam itu, yes. So for us, we want everyone to be, you know the saying, same page of this, same page, everyone on the same page. Yeah. Well, my dad says some people might be on a different book.
True.
So we need to be on the same page of the same book. Karangnya orangnya.